Ever feel like your sales team is doing everything they should be doing, but deals still don't move the way you'd expect? There's activity, there's conversations, the pipeline looks reasonable, but something just feels off. Progress is slower than it should be. Margins feel tighter than they should be, and deals they just don't quite develop in the way you'd hope. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's probably not what you think.
You're listening to the Sales Today podcast, and I'm your host, Fred Copestake. On this podcast, we explore how sales professionals can develop a modern approach to winning business, the application of virtual selling techniques, how to create meaningful business relationships, and much more. Why not take our free collaborative selling scorecard to see how your sales approach suits today's environment? You'll find a link in the show notes.
Now, most engineering companies I work with have strong products, strong capability, strong technical teams. So this isn't usually a question of competence. It's not that your team doesn't know what they're doing, it's that their environment they're selling into has changed. And the way most sales approaches are structured hasn't quite caught up. So here's what's really going on. Most sales teams are working to a defined sales process, a set of steps, stages, milestones, which makes sense. But customers don't follow that process. They follow their own buying journey. And that journey often starts long before they ever speak to you. Something triggers a need. They begin thinking internally. They start shaping the problem, exploring possible solutions, talking to colleagues. And increasingly, they're doing a lot of that thinking without external input. So by the time your team is engaging, the customer is already partway through their journey. And this is where things start to feel difficult. Your team is trying to move things forward, but the customer is still figuring things out. Or worse, they've already formed a view. They've got an idea of how they're going to deal with the problems, and they're biased towards that. So the conversations don't quite land. Progress feels slow. Deals stall. And it creates that underlying sense of, look, we're doing things right, so why isn't this working better? That gap between your sales process and their buying process is where the friction sits. And I'd say that this has become more noticeable in recent years. Because when you think about it, customers are better informed, they're more cautious, and they're better at collaborating internally. And there's more stakeholders involved in that. So there's more scrutiny on that decision. There's more expectation of the results that they're trying to achieve. It means the whole buying journey is far more complex. If we're not aligned to that, everything starts to feel heavier. Longer sales cycles, more pressure on the price. There's less clarity in the conversations with customers, equally for customers. And that is very much something that they are seeking when they're talking to us. So where's the shift? What do we need to do? Well, it's not about doing more. It's about aligning differently. Instead of starting with, right then, what do we need to do to sell? Start with, what is the customer already doing to buy? What's triggered this? How are they thinking about it? Who's involved? When you start there, conversations will change. The timing will improve because the relevance is going to increase. Relevance to the customer is something that people are desperate for. So sales will start to feel, well, a bit more natural again. So Look, if sales is feeling harder than it should right now, it's worth asking that simple question. Are we aligned to how our customers buy? Or are we expecting them to align to how we sell? Because that small shift in perspective can make a considerable difference. If you're listening to this and thinking, well, yeah, that kind of sounds familiar, it's probably worth having that conversation internally. If you want a bit of a clearer view on where things might be misaligned, there's a simple collaborative selling scorecard in the show notes below. That can help you map things out.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Today podcast with me, your host, Fred Copestake. I hope you've enjoyed what you heard today. If you did, please get in touch and hit subscribe. And remember, you can take the collaborative selling scorecard for free to check out how your sales approach works in today's environment. You'll find it in the show notes.